This is Thor. He's the first figure I've gotten to level 20, and he, at the moment, is my favorite. He's really good at range, and he's really good at area of effect attacks, which can affect multiple enemies on a map. Before we start showing anything off, let's take a look at his skill tree. Like all the skill trees, it's broken up into 4 quadrants. The top quadrant is health and healing. The right quadrant is flight and ranged attacks. The lower quadrant is your special attack meter, and power discs. And to the left is melee and everything that has to do with hand to hand. As I said at the beginning, Thor really is good at ranged and area of effect attacks, so it's best to fill out both the ranged section and most of the special attack section. I usually skip these two, which is the power disc recharge upgrade. It makes your power discs charge up faster so you can use them more often, but I think it's much better to be able to do all of his ranged and super attacks more often than any other ability he has. The same with the healing. He's not really meant to be a healer. The only reason I filled these two, team player and team player upgrade, is to get to the super health boost, to give him as much health as possible. The most important section for him is the ranged section. Mid-air recovery is the very first one in that section. It's very important, even if you weren't going to fill him out as a ranged combatant. Mid-air recovery, if you get knocked back, if you fall, if you trip, it allows you to recover immediately, and then you can retaliate a lot faster. It can also help you recover before dying in a falling over the world or that type of situation. Also, the flight upgrade, that makes him fly faster, which is nice. I love flyers because when I'm designing toy boxes, flight lets me get all over the map a lot faster than running around does. The last 6 on this side all have to do in one way or another with ranged combat. The lightning charge power is a brilliant little power. It allows you, by holding the ranged attack button, which on the PlayStation is R2, and it charges his hammer up with lightning, and when you let it go, it'll hit the target you're aiming at, and it'll arc lightning to 3 or 4 different enemies that are close to him, the original target, dealing damage to them as well. It's really good when you're being swarmed. The 2 above it are range attack upgrades. These make your range attacks more powerful. Next to it is the lightning charge upgrade, which makes the original lightning charge power stronger. Summon Thor's hammer. This allows you to, because when you throw the hammer, it goes all the way out to the edge of the map and comes all the way back in. And until the hammer comes back, all you can do is melee attacks, and they're with your bare hands, which don't do as much damage. So that power allows you to summon the hammer back regardless of how far it goes. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a minute. But one thing to know about that is his hammer hits enemies as it's going out and it's coming in. So you can use the summon Thor's hammer power to hit the same target multiple times in very quick succession if you get really good at it. And the last one is the ultra ranged attack upgrade, which just makes all of his ranged attacks do the maximum amount of damage possible for his level. I said for Thor, getting every single one of those is very important. The next really nice part of Thor's skill tree is his special powers. His is called the Lightning Strike. The animation for it is beautiful, but it also is an extremely good area of effect attack. It will damage and single shot a very large number of enemies that are swarming around you. And I've got something set up later in the video to show you exactly what that looks like. The rest of these that are that we took are either special move damage bonuses or move meter upgrades, which allow me to have multiple uses of the special move before having to recharge. The only melee options we took for Thor is the first damage increase, which can't hurt, and Street Spike. What Street Spike allows you to do is it allows you to pick up a creature, an enemy, anything like that, and spike him into the ground, dealing damage. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but any extra amount of damage you can do is good. Now that we've looked at the skill tree, let's actually see some of this stuff in action. Alright, first let's show you some of the basic things he can do. We're just going to summon an enemy. Really basic enemy. First, to show you the Street Spike. You pick him up, you hit the attack button, and it throws him directly into the ground. Now, it doesn't do a whole lot of damage, and it takes a long time to kill anything this way, but it does do a little bit, so if you need to do something, you can always do that. Thor has a normal melee attack. If he has his hammer in his hand, he will use it. If he doesn't, that's what it looks like when he does his combo. But if he doesn't have his hammer in his hand, why is it not hitting him? There it goes. If he doesn't have his hammer in his hand, he will just smack people around with his bare fists. And then, of course, you have ranged. Now, as you can see, if you miss, it goes out all the way, and then you smack with your bare hands. But the hammer does, as you can see, 2 hits with the hammer and a regular mob goes down pretty quick. But that doesn't really show Thor's strengths much. He is much better at fighting multiple mobs at once. So let's go ahead and show you what that is. We'll summon a whole bunch of frost giants. Now the first thing he can do, which is really nice, is if you come up into the air and hit your melee button, boom, he comes down with sparks and thunder. And it doesn't take many of these to actually kill anything. And when you're being surrounded, it knocks them back, does some damage, and it will eventually kill them. There goes one. Another good thing he can do is if he's flying, you can, wrong one, come down, and that will do damage to everyone around where he's at. And sometimes that's all you have that you can do. But it'll do a lot of damage. It knocks them around pretty good. Let's go ahead and kill a bunch of these so I can summon a bunch more. And we'll get to the meat of what makes him so good at killing multiple mobs. Run around, get them to follow me. Okay, let's show you the hammer charge. You can see it lights up pretty good. The only thing you can't do is get hit. That will reset the charge, but you can jump up and start flying if you need to. Let's see how it sparked more than just the one that you hit, which is nice. It'll do damage to multiple guys as long as they're close to each other, and it kills simple mobs pretty quick. As you can see, you don't even have to hit anything. It just has to kind of go by them, and it'll do a lot of damage. The other nice little thing that he does is his superpower. Looks pretty, and as you can see, it pretty much kills everything that's close to you. I don't think there's a limit to the number of creatures that it can hit. There, just showed you the hammer hitting something on the way back. I don't believe there's a limit to the number of mobs that can be hit by his superpower. I've killed quite a few things at once with it, but that's not even the best part of what you can do with Thor. And we're going to go to the last section and I'll show you that. Anyone can beat up on the simple mobs, but what happens if some toy box maker decides to be not so very nice and fill up his toy box with nothing but big bad guys? Look at all that. Well, that's not very nice. That is what his superpower can do to a whole section of bad guys, of boss bad guys. Another nice thing about having multiple bosses is using that charge. It will do damage to a lot of the bosses in the area if you can time it right. And as you can see, it makes pretty quick work of them. And there I go, getting frozen. Get unfrozen real quick. Show you how to make quick. At level 20, you can see you make quick work of pretty much any of the bosses with just a simple. Oh, there's that mid-air recovery I was telling you about. Make simple work of most of the boss bad guys with just your hammer. But every once in a while, you get overwhelmed. It is good to have that AoE superpower. Try to get him super powered up so we can finish this. And I'm frozen again. And there you have it. That's Thor in a nutshell. He's a pretty powerful character at level 20. I would suggest keeping him mostly ranged. I've seen people spec him out with the hand-to-hand, but that, man, I'm telling you, you're missing out on a lot of fun with this character if he can't do some of the things he does with his hammer. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you again next time.